This is the lecture number 2 of the course AU 203 Statistics and Quality Control. In this lecture, we will be having an introduction of the software Minitab. We will start looking at the user graphic interface of the Minitab, and then we will look into its session window, worksheet, and project manager window. And then we will go into exploring different data types that are available and how to enter data or direction of entering the data. And after importing data, then we will go on plotting the chart like bar chart, and we will do the tally sheet. So the whole lecture would be comprising of an introduction to the software. So what this screen is showing the menu bar, and this is showing the session window, and this is showing the worksheet, and this is showing the project manager. And we will do it in a software to just have a PowerPoint here, and in project manager all the graphs and window layouts and history of the session window and all these settings are stored in project manager window. And in the worksheet, it is just like an Excel sheet where you enter your data and in the form of numerics, text, constants, matrices. So this is your in Minitab. This worksheet is containing all the data which you are going to analyze. And your worksheet looks like having columns. C1, C2, C3 represent columns, and 1, 2, 3, 4 represent rows. So columns are C1, C2, and the rows are 1, 2, 3, and the cell, what you call it, an intersection of the column and row is actually termed as a cell. There are different data types. Numeric data types includes digits, numbers. It could be in decimal places. It could be in whole number. Text could be numeric, not a numeric value. It is a letter. It could be taken as a number as well as you can take number as your text as well. Spaces and special characters and all that would come into the text. And then there is a data type called a date or time. So you have different formats of entering data and time, date and time. And we will see that all these are interconvertibles, and by right clicking we can see the format of the column, and there are different directions to which your data can be entered, and this arrow is showing the direction in the row, and this downward arrow is showing the direction in the column. We will go into the bar chart. We will draw it using the bar chart, and we will draw the tally sheet here. So now we will start the Excel Minitab software.
So this is a graphical user interface of a software Minitab, and it has a standard menu bar like file menu, having new file open, project open, worksheet open. So and then there is an edit toolbar, standard Windows toolbar, and this is a data toolbar where you have to stack, unstack, change the data type, and here you have to calculate different data and different types of things. You can do the stats work here, and this is the graph where you can do the graph here on this, and this is an edited toolbar and toolbar options. You can change settings of the options. If you go to that, I have just make my default location where all the files are going to set here, and you can change the, let's say for example for graphics I just say it graph region, and different settings have been given. For background color I made it white, and you could have any different colors, and your data size is this, and so all these general settings you can do it for in this option column. And the help is available with this help here, and you can go into the help. If you just let's say want to have it a help, just click on that help. So another window comes here which is your Minitab help. So let's say if you want to study anything like, let's say you want to study about bar charts. So you just click on bar chart and then the help comes about bar chart. So you just need to refresh here. So your bar chart is this, which is a clustered chart or stacked bars. And so there's some examples of the bar chart are given here, and you can have those examples. So this is how your help file works. So I'm not going to that, I'm just closing this help file. Okay, so and the second part of this graphic user interface is the session window. So whatever I am doing it, that is available in the session window. So so far I have not done any activity. So once I will do the activity, that would be logged here in this session window. So the session window is all about logging all the work you are doing in the Minitab. And this is a worksheet window, and worksheet window is exactly the same as Excel sheet. So you have C1, C2 are the names of the columns. So columns names are given as C1, C2, C3, C4. And then you see the first row, which is actually your header row, where your header comes, and then the row 1 is labeled as 1 2 3 4 5 6 as number of rows there. So you could go in large number of columns. For example, even I think in Minitab you can do more than about 4,000 columns you can have. And here you see, once you enter your data in your column, let's say I just entered some data like, let's say, weight, and weight is my header, and I just put it 34 is the weight, or whatever it is, 56 is the weight, or 78 is the weight. And I see, once I enter the data and I just press the enter key, then my cursor cell actually goes into the downward, and this is because is my direction of entering is in the downward. Let's say if I click on this, I change the direction to the horizontal. So once I upload it here 56 and then enter, I go automatically to the row direction. So this is what the direction of entry means. And we can see that what you call it a cell is actually there is an intersection of a row and a column. So for example, if this is a cell which I am interested in, which is an interaction of row 3 and column 4, so I reach to the cell, this cell, which is the intersection of row 3 and column 4. uh, okay, so this is where you put all your worksheets. Right now there is one more thing which is called project manager window, which is not visible to this point, but I just try to show it here. Okay, so this is my project window here, and this project manager window is having have not given saved it as a project. So once I will save it as a project, then project name would come, and whatever my session window history is that is available, what graphs I made, that would be stored in that project manager. I can have a number of different worksheets in the same project. So right now I am working with worksheet 1, which have some data in that columns, and I just put C1, C2, C3 different columns, and some 4 values are stored in the weight. So that information is available right now with this project manager. Okay, so we usually minimize this, and once we save that, so all the files would be saved in that project manager window. Okay, so we will be mostly dealing with the session window as well as worksheet window. That is, I made it available here. Okay, so let's say just do the same thing. We have done it. Okay, one more thing about this weight, if you see. For example, if I want it to ratings, let's say ratings is A and B and C, and what you see is whenever I put the letter, so here all these letters have become is recognized as text, and the column name automatically by default have a prefix of capital T. Capital T represent that this column is having text data, and if there is no text data, there is a numeric data, whether it is numbers like 67.8 or something. So this comes up like numeric data, and this is your text data. Another thing I can do it is a date here. For example, right now I just put it, let's say some date. Or what I can do is I can just right click and format the column. Say, let's say my column is, I could be having text, numeric, and data type. So these are the three data types that are available in Minitab. So numeric we already have seen, text we have seen for rating, and now we go into the date and time format. Let's say I want the format in that, like example 30th October 2020. So today is that date. So that date is there. So I can put it like 30th 10 2020. So the date comes it in, okay, is not a valid date because I have set a different format for the date. So I need to put it like 30th October 2020. Okay, now it recognizes that, okay, that is the right format. And then when I just put it down, then it automatically understands that after 30th October there will be 31st October, and then 1st November, and then 2nd November. So it understands, and it can put this whole column into different format. I can change the data type. Let's say for example I want to change it from other format, like let's say this one, a day, month, and year. So and I'm not interested in time, so I just forget about time. Then the whole thing is in the 30th, and then month, and then, so I got that format. So there are different ways of setting the format of this column, but it is a date or text type. It is a text type, and this is a numeric type. And what we can do is, for example, right now we put this is a weight as a numeric, and I want to convert it into text. I can do it if I just go onto the data and change the data type. For example, I want to change the data type from numeric to text. So let's say weight is my the column which I want to change, and I want to select the store it in the same place at that weight, but not as a numeric column but as a text column. So I just click on that. So now it recognizes that this weight is a text, and what I can do is it is a text, and I can, let's say, pounds or something I want. So it allow me to write down, because if it is numeric column, then it doesn't allow me to write letters. And here, but I can write even anything. If I whatever I want, I can write it here, because it is, this is being treated as let's say I just put it in alpha or something, whatever it is. So it is actually the text column, and we can interconvert from text column back to the numeric as well. For example, let's say I do it this time, change the data type from text to numeric, and I want to select this, and I want to store it in the same place, and then I do it. And interestingly, you see, because these were the text and they were cannot be turned into numeric. So this one I could not get it numeric. So let's say I just put some numerical values again by myself. So you can have turn back this text into numeric, and you can see that this prefix with the column is also not attached. So once it is not attached, it means it's a numeric data type. If T is attached, then it is a text data type. If D is attached, it is date and time data type. So these are the different data types that are used in Minitab. And now what we can see is, if you recall back the previous problem, in which what we did is we made some bar chart. So now let's see how we can draw the bar chart. Let's say rating column is this, and the frequency column was something like, so 20 people has given a rating of A, and let's say 230 people given a rating of B, and 58 people giving a rating of C and 12 people giving a rating of D, let's say. So this was the same data because this is your text data type and this is your numeric data type. So which is accounting how many people in a survey give 20 people give a rating of A and 230 given a rating of B. So how to draw the bar chart? It is simple. If you go to the graph menu bar and go to the bar chart, click on that bar chart, and then you have bars represent what? Actually values from a table. I just select values from a table and I have one column of values. So I just choose a simple one and one column of values. Each column represent a value. So that is once I press OK, I will be in a position to select my frequency is the graph variable because this is the variable. This is a number which can vary for the experimental unit. So it could be 20, it could be 230, it could be 58, and the associated categorical variable. And you see, once I have it, I am here at the graph variable. So it always allow me to graph the variable which is in numeric. But once I go to the categorical variable, then it allows me to select the rating as well. Earlier we are not able to see the rating. So rating is selected as your categorical variable. So you want to graph that count with graph that data with that category. So if I just click on that, so I will be in a position to draw that graph which says that A is 20 people rating and 230 people is B rating and C rating and D rating. So this is how simple we can draw the graph, and you can see the chart of the frequency we have drawn that has been logged on the session window as well. Okay, so this is plotting a bar chart. Okay, another thing we did in the first lecture, actually, I just minimize or I can just close it, whatever I want. We have the data for 21 candies. Let's say what I do is I have some Excel. I mean, there is a book which I gave you, and this is the example problem I did in for the rating A, B. I mean, there are different numbers, but I've just taken the different numbers here. Okay, I want to draw that graph from this raw data which is available for colors of 21 candies. So that is what you have recorded. So what I'm doing is I'm going into the Excel sheet or whatever where the data is there. I just try to copy it, and I can go back to the this place, and I want the data to be pasted here. Just paste the cell and use spaces as delimiters, not as a single column, but just I wanted to use another feature of Minitab that is called stacking. So the whole data is there, and we can see that these attributes, this is an attribute data. It is a qualitative data which is given in the form of an attribute. It is not a quantitative data, it is a qualitative data. Different colors of the candies have been recorded, and T represent that this is a text data type. Okay, so one way is to copy and put it here in this column, and what we can do is we can do it automatically as well. For example, these are actually all the candies which I want to have it list down the candies here. So what I go into the data and go to the stack and then choose columns, stacking the columns. So stack data from separate columns into one column. So always read that what is shown here, stack data from separate columns into one column. That is I am interested in. Okay, so I need to select C8, C9, C10, C11, select all together, C8 to C11, and I want to store it in column C4, which is candies. So this is not the subgroup, not here, but store result in a current worksheet with that, not this one, but the candies one. Okay, so this is the stack of the column, and the stack is converted into a single column of the current worksheet. So I want it into the same worksheet. I can do it in a new worksheet as well, but I am doing it in the same worksheet with the C4 column, or the column having this header candies. So here I got all into a single column. So the whole data is turned into a single column. So or other way, you can copy individual and paste it to a column. Okay, so this is how the stacking takes place. And you can stack and you can unstack as well. So there is a possibility of unstacking the column as well. So if you want to shift a single data into several different columns, you can do the same thing in the reverse manner as well. Okay, so what we have learned is whatever data we copied from anywhere, we can turn it into a column form, and this column is actually representing an attribute data in the form of the data type is text. And okay, this raw data has no meaning unless we categorize that data. So what I do is I go to the stats toolbar, and then I go to the tables toolbar, and then I go into tally individual variables. So this is going to list the unique values in a column and count the number of times each value occur. So that would be able to generate a tally sheet. So if I just go this way, now it asks me, okay, what data you want, a variable is this. Okay, right now I'm just taking the count of that. I can do the percent as well, but right now I'm just doing the count. So when I just click it, what will happen? I need to go into the session window to see the tally for the discrete variable candy. So it recognizes that it's a discrete variable, and so your count is either 5 or 6. It could not be 5.5. And your blue is 5 in number, 5 times occur, brown is occur 6 times, and green occurs 3 times. So one way of bringing that information into the worksheet is just by clicking it and copy it. And let's say I just posted here paste cells, let's say. So I will be able to the count of the different candies with their count is given here. So the whole data is come into the worksheet. So this is one way by which we can bring the data. But there are some other ways of doing the same thing. For example, instead of want everything in this session window, if I can store it in the worksheet, I can do the same thing again. If I go to the stats, tables, tally, individual tables, and I'm just selecting the candies as my variable, and this time I want to store result, let's say. And okay, let's say I want a percent as well. So both these results will be stored automatically. So you can see the count of your tally sheet is already developed with the count as well as its percentage. So 5 divided by, and total count is 21. You already have seen that total count is 21. So 5 divided by 21 would be 23.8% would be this. And the whole thing has come automatically. Let's say I just give some names for this color, and I just say the count of the color, and I just say the percentage of the color. So the percentages come here. So now the whole raw data has turned into some meaningful numbers. Then we can see that 20 out of 21 candies, 28% candies would be of brown color. So 14% are green color, 14% are orange color. So this is where we can figure out the different types of the data. Okay, now we are in a position to graph that data as well. For example, if I want to have a bar chart for that data, I will go again to the values from a table, selecting it a simple one, and my data is my count, and my category variable is actually your color, because as per the different colors, what will be the count of that colors, that is I'm interested in. And if I just press OK, so I will be able to see that blue is 5 in color, brown is 6 in color, green is 3 in color. So I can draw the bar chart which makes how 21 colors, different colors of the candies are distributed. So this gives a typical distribution of that raw data, and how simple it is to do it in Minitab. So it's quite nice feature, and you can see even this percentage count as well. And one more thing we can do it, if I just click on that count here on this axis, and on this axis what I want is an attribute, label, font, alignment. Okay, so these are the things which scale. Okay, show what we are going to show, the attributes. Okay, labels, fonts, alignment. Okay, let's say I want to change some font. Let's say I want it to 16 font, so I can increase the font with the increase the number of counts I can increase. No? So this is something, all these things on the graph, I can have a possibility of transpose values in category scales. Let's say if I want to just transpose it, so I can transpose it like the simple way that, okay, count is on the horizontal axis and the color is on the vertical axis. So I can see the same graph just by clicking it, by transposing it. I mean, just have transposed it. So a lot of things you can see. Right now I'm not getting attributes. You can do quite a lot of things. For example, let's say on this graph, just I click a right click and add a reference line. Let's say my reference line should cross at number 3, let's say, and that to be crossed at the horizontal position, so just 3. Okay, so it is actually at green, it has done. Okay, I'm not interested in the green, but let's say, okay, I'm interested in the 3, so I need to go to the, once again, right click, add reference line. Okay, I want reference line at y values, because actually since I have transport, so y values would be at 3. So at 3 it draw a line. Okay, these green, orange, red candies have count 3 or less than 3, and these two candies have count more than 3. So this is how something you can add here by just putting this reference and just making it a bigger number. And you can change the setting of that attribute of that. For example, instead of dash lines, you want, let's say, this lines, and you want, let's say, for green color, something like that. So you can do that like this. So there are a lot of possibilities on this chart. You could have represent your data in a more meaningful manner. So this is what we have learned in this session is different data types, user graphic interface. Okay, let's say for this percentage column, I mean, it has come automatically, but let's say I want to have this percentage calculate just like an Excel sheet. Let's say I want to calculate this percentage. I know the count is 21. So what I need is, I need to go into calculate and do the calculator. And what I want is to store my data in C8. That is what I have done it. And my count starts from C6 is to be divided by 21, and multiply by 100. And once I assign this as a formula, so for every element in this column would be calculated according to that formula. So C6 would be divided by 21 and multiply by 100. So I will be able to calculate that percentage. So once I do that, I will be able to calculate that percentage. So what we got it in the tally sheet automatically. The same we can do it once we have a count of the data. I just have a formula, and here you see that this green check mark is representing that this column is having certain formula. So if I go to this formula, I mean it is assigned some formula, and a formula is already assigned. For example, if I change some numbers here in this column, let's say 7, and you see automatically it calculates the percentage, because the formula is linked with the, if I bring some change in C6, the change would bring in C8, because the formula is assigned here. Once I remove the formula, for example, okay, I just remove that, I just got to get rid of that. If I just want to remove the formula, I can go the formula, remove formula from selected column. So in that selected column, formula has been removed. Now I bring, let's say, something here. I don't see any change in C8 because of change in C6, because there is no formula associated. These are just some numerical values that are here. So this is how the formula stuff work, and we can do a lot of things. For example, you know, this percentage must come up to be 100. Let's say I want this percentage to be evaluated, and what I'm doing is I am interested in getting the column statistics. I just go to the column calculate and column statistics. For example, my column is percent column. I selected, and I just don't want to store any result. Let's say I want to store it in a availability on a session window. I just click on, then I can see some of the percentage. If you add them together, you are going to get 100. Or for this particular count, if you want in this C6 column, you want to have a counting of that. So calculate the column statistics. Let's say here I am interested in the count of the data, and I'm just interested in the sum of that number. I will be able to get the sum of the numbers. So sum of the count for these candies is 21, and we have already seen this is 21 candies altogether. So you see here how actually the Minitab is working, and it is exactly in the same manner as we are doing it in the Excel sheet, and the graphs are just very easy to draw such graphs, and we can do quite a lot, and in the whole course we'll be using Minitab for different things. No? Sometimes we can do it, what you call it, concatenate data. So what I can do is I can associate, for example, this is a frequency table, and A is a frequency, and I want to combine these two columns. So first thing I have to do is, because the same two categories can be combined together, so I just need to convert this data type from text to numeric to text. So I want this frequency table to be converted into the frequency table as text. So I have now ratings and frequency, and this frequency is actually taken as a text now. So I have both text column. So what I can do is, let's say I go to the data bar, and I just say concatenate. Concatenate means combine text values from two or more columns into a single column. So here I have to select concatenate, or put them together, the columns, let's say rating and frequency, these three columns to be selected, and I want to put in C1 here. So once I do this, I will be able to combine the data A20, B230, C58, and D12. So this whole text, two text is concatenated into a single column. So I have A20, B230, C58, whatever it could be. So if I have separate recordings, I can combine together into one column, rating and frequency together. So but, and the whole thing is once again text data type. So you can see there are different ways of looking at, and whatever we are doing it, that is available in that window. Okay, you can go to the session window, you can go to the worksheet window, and you can go to the project manager just by clicking on this menu bar as well. And there's so many graphs here, and if you want to close all types of graph, these graphs are available. Just if you see it window, and you can see different types of graphs are available. For example, chart of frequency is available, this graph is available, chart of count is available, this graph is available. And uh, we can manipulate such graphs quite a lot. We will do it in the later part of this course, and they all available in this window setting. So either you can, if you want to see any window, you can see it from that. If you want to close graphs or update all graphs, if some data is changed here, for example, I have removed, okay, let's say I just put it, A rating is, let's say 90. I have changed the rating, and let's say I want it to update that graph. So update graph automatically. Okay, but since the data has been converted from text to the numeric, so that's why it is not recognizing it. So what I do is I turn it back again to the data type, change the data type from text to numeric, and frequency is the something which I want, and this frequency to be there. Okay, so I again converted back into my data type, which is numeric. Now I can see A is 90 here. Say, let's say B rating is decreased to 120, and I want to see it, it has automatically updated automatically. So the graphs have been, the setting is which I have already made it to update the graph automatically. Once I don't do it, and then it doesn't change by itself. For example, I just bring it a change here, let's say 67. So I don't see here D is gone to 67. But if I just go to update graphically, I can update it. Now D is 67 here. So all these things today we have learned to show up different types of graphs or tally sheets and data types. So this is where I stop this lecture today.